Somewhere in the world right now, there is a person whose blood could save your life, but whose blood you could never, under any circumstances, give back to them. There are fewer than 50 of these people on the entire planet, and yes, certain government health agencies quietly know exactly who they are. Hi, I'm Dr. James, and today we are going inside the rarest biological phenomenon in all of human hematology. This is the story of Rh-null blood, what the medical world has nicknamed golden blood, and why finding a single compatible donor for one of these patients can trigger an international emergency. Let's start with something most people have never thought about. When a doctor tells you your blood type, they give you a letter, A, B, AB, or O, and a plus or minus sign. That plus or minus refers to one specific protein on the surface of your red blood cells. It is called the Rhd antigen. If you have it, you are positive. If you don't, you are negative. Simple enough. But here is what almost no one knows. That single Rhd antigen is only one of over 61 proteins in an entire family called the Rh blood group system. Most humans carry some combination of these proteins naturally. They are baked into us. They are part of what makes red blood cells structurally sound, flexible, and able to do their job. Now imagine that all 61 of those proteins, every single one, are simply absent from your red blood cells. Not reduced, not slightly altered, gone. That is Rh-null, and the people who carry it are, from a hematological standpoint, operating with a completely different kind of blood than the rest of humanity. Scientists first identified Rh-null in 1961 in an Aboriginal Australian woman. At first, the medical team thought they had made a lab error. They ran the tests again and again. The results kept coming back the same. Her blood matched nothing in any existing classification system. It was, essentially, a blood type that had never been seen in medical history. Since then, fewer than 50 individuals worldwide have been confirmed to carry Rh-null. That makes it exponentially rarer than AB negative, which itself affects less than 1% of the population. To put it into perspective, there are more people alive today who have walked on the moon than there are confirmed Rh-null donors. So why do we call it golden blood? Because in theory, Rh-null blood can be given to anyone with a rare Rh blood disorder. People who carry unusual or partial Rh antigens, themselves rare, often cannot receive standard blood without a severe, potentially fatal immune reaction. For them, Rh-null is the only compatible option. It is liquid gold. It is the last resort. It is the thing standing between them and death on an operating table. But here is the cruel irony built into this gift. Because Rh-null donors have no Rh proteins at all, their immune systems are completely foreign to every other blood type that exists. If an Rh-null person receives a transfusion of standard blood, even O negative, which the medical world typically calls the universal donor, their immune system will treat it as a lethal invader and attack. Their body has never seen these proteins. It has no tolerance for them. A standard transfusion could trigger a catastrophic immune response that could kill them. This means that if an Rh-null individual is in a serious accident, needs emergency surgery, or faces a medical crisis requiring a blood transfusion, the only compatible blood on Earth is blood from another Rh-null donor. And finding one of those 50 people in time, in the right country, with available supply, and with a blood volume that can be safely donated, is a logistical nightmare that plays out in real time while a patient is on the table. The International Rare Donor Panel, a registry maintained in coordination with organizations like the Red Cross, keeps a running log of Rh-null donors globally. These individuals are quietly encouraged to donate regularly and to bank their own blood ahead of any planned medical procedures. Some have donated blood specifically for themselves, stored in case of emergency, shipped across continents. One donor described it as carrying a key to a lock that almost no one else knows exists. There are two ways a person ends up with Rh-null. The first is called the regulator type. It happens when a person inherits a mutation in a gene called Rh-ag, the gene responsible for producing the protein that helps all those Rh antigens attach to the red blood cell surface in the first place. Without that anchor protein, none of the antigens can mount. The cell surface is completely blank. This type is slightly more common, though common is a deeply relative term here. The second pathway is called the amorph type. In this case, the person inherits two completely non-functional copies of the genes responsible for producing Rh antigens directly. There is no production to begin with. Both parents must carry the dormant gene, and neither may know it for a child to express Rh-null this way. It is the genetic equivalent of two hidden puzzle pieces that only reveal their shape when placed together by pure chance. Here's something that surprises people when they first hear it. Rh-null individuals are generally healthy. They live normal lives. Their red blood cells look slightly different under a microscope, a bit rounder, a bit stiffer than typical cells, but this rarely causes serious health problems on its own. The danger is not in having the blood. The danger is in the moment you need someone else's. One of the most well-known Rh-null donors is a man from Switzerland, referred to in medical literature simply by his initials to protect his privacy, who has donated blood multiple times over the decades, knowing each donation may directly save the life of the only type of patient his blood can help. He has described the experience as both humbling and isolating. He knows he carries something extraordinary. He also knows that the one time he truly needs help, the phone call to find a compatible donor could take days he might not have. And this brings us to the intelligence angle, which genuinely surprises people. Several health agencies and government-affiliated medical organizations do maintain quiet registries, not secret in a conspiratorial sense, but discreet and carefully guarded, of known Rh-null individuals, specifically because of the potential military and emergency response implications. If a high-ranking official, a critical government figure, or a military operative with Rh-null blood were injured in the field, having pre-established donor contacts and stored supply could be the difference between survival and death. It's not science fiction, it's contingency planning at the highest level of medical logistics. In our recent episode on the LRP5 gene and unbreakable bones, we explored what it looks like when a single genetic mutation turns the human body into something almost superhuman. Golden blood is a different kind of mutation, not one that makes you stronger or faster, but one that makes you biologically singular, 1 in 100 million. A person whose very existence quietly requires the world's medical infrastructure to reorganize itself around them, just in case. What does it tell us that a creature as complex as the human being can produce, through the random shuffle of inherited genes, a variation so extreme it does not fit into any category we built to describe ourselves? It tells us that the map of human biology is still, even now, being drawn. And somewhere out there, there is a person going about their ordinary day, drinking their morning coffee, driving to work, knowing absolutely nothing about the fact that their blood is unlike any other blood on Earth. If this episode changed the way you think about what runs through your veins, hit like and subscribe. We go deep on the human body every episode, and you do not want to miss what's coming next.